Hey, welcome back. It's Wednesday. Happy to have you here. I was speaking with a group of middle school parents this past week, and the question came up after I was done with the whole group. Mom came over and asked, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my son and his schedule, and then maybe you could tell me if you think that he's too busy. And a lot of parents these days seem to be asking the same question, framed somewhat differently. I've had also parents ask me, do you feel as though my son or daughter is overscheduled? I think there's a perception today that kids are really busy in the after-school hours, and some of them are. For me, though, it's a real personal thing. I think it really depends on the child. Some kids can handle more activity than others. What I see, though, quite often is high power, I call them high-powered parents, those parents that are busy in their own lives, personal and professional, but their child doesn't have that same type of personality, and so there's that belief that maybe the child is the same as the parent, and so the child is engaged in a lot of activities when really the child's personality is much more, I like to engage in one or two things, I don't like to be out of the home a lot, so there can be a difference, and of course the opposite can be true as well. You can have parents that are a little bit more laid back, and the child really wants to go, go, go. So you have to really look at your child as an individual and say, what are those things that he's really charged up about? What are those things that she really enjoys doing? And now let's look at the after-school schedule. As a general rule, though, if you're noticing some above average irritability, and I say above average because, middle school, they can be irritable, the spur of the moment, they can be irritable. So something out of the norm, all right? Tired, really tired. That is just kind of your very overt cue that maybe there's something happening there. There's too much activity in those after school hours, not enough sleep, not able to really calm down as we get towards the sleeping hours. National Sleep Institute says 9 hours a night. Sounds like a lot during middle school because they are engaged in a lot of things, but that's the research behind it, folks. And you start cutting into that, and you're going to get some extra irritability. So you have to watch really those two key factors. But beyond that, looking at your child as an individual, sitting down, having a conversation with your child, having a conversation with the coaches or teachers or whomever those people are that are taking the after school hours with your child, and really asking the question, what do you want to do here? And to the coaches and mentors, what are you noticing about my child? Is there anything kind of out of the ordinary? Because you really have to stay on top of this. Your kids, they're going to want to make decisions about what they're engaged in, but especially those kids that are kind of the high power kids, they want to do a lot, they have a tendency to overschedule themselves unless you put a monitor on that. And sometimes that can be the hardest thing to do. So especially if you're a high power parent yourself and you're used to going. What you need to remember, folks, is that right now during the middle school years, kids are really trying to figure out how life works. And if you give them the perception that it's go, 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 that's what they grow up believing. And I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying that is the net effect of that. So take that into consideration as you're looking at the after-school schedule. And finally, what are the priorities? And by that I mean, is school number one? And if so, look at the number of hours realistically that school is going to take. All right. Beyond that, how many more hours are left before you start cutting into that 9 hour a night sleep barrier? So there's only going to be a certain number of hours and minutes outside of sleep and outside of that number one priority if it is school to fit in extra things. So how are you going to divvy up those minutes? You have to look at that. So a couple of things to get you moving forward on that. Again, there's no cut and dry answer on are you too busy, are you overscheduled. It's an individual thing, but maybe some things to think about. So have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. I'll talk with you soon.